Hi, I'm Jaylani. I've worked at Apex Marketing for 3 years, handling accounts that bring in millions for the company. I never expected to be the center of attention. I'm the quiet one who gets things done while others take the credit. Especially Victoria Reed, my department supervisor. Jaylani, I need the Westfield presentation by noon, Victoria called across the office floor, her voice carrying that sing-song quality that masked her demands as friendly requests. But you told me tomorrow was the deadline, I replied, looking up from my computer. I've been focusing on the Henderson account. Victoria's perfectly lined lips curved into a smile that never reached her eyes. Plans change. The client moved the meeting up. That's business, sweetie. My colleague Emma leaned over from her desk. Need any help? I can take over the Henderson stuff. Thanks, but I'll manage, I whispered back. This isn't the first time she's pulled this. Emma's eyes narrowed. You know, my cousin worked with Victoria at her last job. Says she has a reputation for setting people up to fail. What do you mean? I asked. Just watch your back. She likes having someone to blame when things go wrong. I spent the next 4 hours frantically putting together the presentation. At 11:58, I sent it to Victoria's email, then rushed to her office. It's done, I said, slightly out of breath. Just sent it to you. Victoria glanced up from her phone. Great. Now print 15 color copies for the meeting. 15? I thought this was just a preliminary review with the client. The CEO and board members decided to sit in. Didn't you get my email? She raised a perfectly arched eyebrow. No, Well, the meeting starts in 20 minutes. Better hurry. The color printer was notoriously slow. I managed 9 copies before Victoria appeared at my side, tapping her designer watch. Time's up. Bring what you have. The conference room was packed with executives and the Westfield team when Victoria led me in. Everyone, this is Jaylani, who's been working on your campaign, she announced cheerfully. Unfortunately, she's only prepared a few copies of the presentation. Jaylani, would you explain why? 20 pairs of eyes turned to me. I just received notice about the additional attendees, I began. Victoria cut me off. That's not entirely accurate. I sent an email this morning. She pulled up her phone and showed a message time-stamped 8:02 a.m., an email I never received. I think what's happening, Victoria continued smoothly, is that Jaylani might be a bit overwhelmed by the scope of this account. Our CEO, Mr. Richardson, frowned. Is that true? Before I could answer, Victoria displayed my presentation on the screen. You'll also notice several discrepancies in the marketing strategy compared to what we discussed last week. I stared in horror. This wasn't my file. The slides contained outdated information and obvious errors. That's not my presentation, I said, my voice barely audible. I'm just showing what you emailed me, Victoria replied with concern that sounded genuine to everyone but me. My phone buzzed with a text from Emma. You need to see this, now. I excused myself after the disastrous meeting and found Emma by the break room. I was helping it with the email server backup, she said, showing me her tablet. Look at what Victoria sent to Derek in IT this morning. The email read, Replace Jaylani's presentation with the attached file before the meeting. Time to show Richardson she can't handle client accounts. She deliberately set me up, I told Marcus that evening in our kitchen, pacing back and forth while he listened intently. My husband set down his coffee mug. Start from the beginning. Tell me exactly what happened. I explained everything. The sudden deadline change, the missing email, the switched presentation. And you have proof? Marcus asked, his voice calm but his eyes showing that calculated look I recognized from his business negotiations. Emma showed me the email Victoria sent to Derek in IT, I replied. But I don't have a copy. Emma was afraid of losing her job if Victoria found out she showed me. Marcus nodded slowly. We need that email, and we need to know why Victoria's targeting you specifically. I think I know why, I said, sitting down across from him. Remember that Halston account I brought in last quarter? The one worth 7 figures? Of course. Victoria was supposed to land it, but they specifically requested me after meeting us both. She's been undermining me ever since. The next morning, I approached Emma near the coffee machine. "Did you save a copy of that email?" I asked quietly. Emma glanced around nervously. "No, but Derek might still have it. He keeps everything. Would he help me?" "Doubtful. He and Victoria are close." Emma made air quotes. "How close?" "Let's just say he's not giving up his corner office because of his IT skills." Later, I spotted Derek in the break room and decided to try anyway. "Hey, Derek, got a minute?" I asked. "For you?" "Always." He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes, just like Victoria's. "Yesterday's presentation disaster. Total miscommunication," he interrupted. "Happens to everyone." "Was it, though?" I locked eyes with him. "Because I know about the email Victoria sent you." His smile faltered. "I don't know what you're talking about." "The one where she asked you to switch my presentation files." Derek's face hardened. "Be careful, Jaylani. Making accusations without proof is a dangerous game. Victoria's been good to this company. Good at taking credit for other people's work," I countered. "Look, I get it. You're upset about a bad meeting, but dragging others down won't help your reputation." "My reputation?" She humiliated me in front of the entire executive team. Derek stepped closer. "Victoria's been with Richardson for 15 years. You've been here, what, 3? Who do you think they'll believe?" I left the conversation feeling defeated, but Marcus was undeterred when I told him about it that evening. "We need to approach this strategically," he said, typing on his laptop. "Richardson's company is privately owned, correct?" "Yes. Why?" "Because private companies still have investors," Marcus replied with a slight smile. "And tomorrow, I'm going to become one of them." "What are you planning?" "First, we need hard evidence. Then we need allies. And finally," he looked up from his screen, "we need to understand exactly how deep this corruption goes. Because I doubt Victoria's acting alone." "You really think Mr. Richardson is involved?" "I think we're about to find out. Tomorrow, wear your best outfit and be ready for anything." The office was buzzing with excitement the next morning. Rumors spread that a potential investor was touring the company. "Did you know about this?" Emma whispered as we watched Mr. Richardson lead a group of suits through the office. "No idea," I lied, spotting Marcus among them, looking every bit the billionaire businessman he was. Victoria rushed over, straightening her blazer. "Everyone look sharp. Jaylani, maybe stay at your desk. After yesterday's presentation, we want to put our best foot forward." Before I could respond, Mr. Richardson approached with the group. "And this is our marketing department, where we develop the award-winning campaigns you've seen in our portfolio." Marcus stepped forward, scanning the room until his eyes met mine. His expression revealed nothing. "Impressive," he said. "I'd like to meet some of your team members." Victoria immediately extended her hand. "Victoria Reed, head of marketing. I'd be happy to walk you through our process." "Actually," Marcus replied, "I'd like to speak with—" He pretended to check notes. "Jaylani Parker." Victoria's smile froze. "Oh, well, Jaylani is fairly new and still learning our systems." "I've been here 3 years," I interjected, standing up. "Nevertheless," Victoria continued, "I can provide a more comprehensive overview of our operations." Marcus smiled politely. "I'm sure you can, Miss Reed. However, I make it a point to speak with employees at various levels. It provides a more authentic picture of company culture." Mr. Richardson nodded enthusiastically. "Of course. Jaylani, why don't you use the small conference room?" Once alone with Marcus, I finally breathed. That was quite an entrance. "It gets better," he replied, setting his briefcase on the table. "I've been busy." He revealed printouts of emails between Victoria and Derek spanning months, all documenting sabotage of various employees, including me. "How did you get these?" I asked, amazed. "Let's just say Derek's personal email security is considerably weaker than the company's." The door opened abruptly as Victoria entered without knocking. "Sorry to interrupt, but Mr. Richardson needs Jaylani for an urgent client matter." Marcus stood. "Actually, Miss Reed, I was just discussing something interesting with your colleague. Perhaps you could clarify a few points?" He slid one of the emails across the table. Victoria's face drained of color. "Where did you get this?" she hissed. "The better question," Marcus replied, "is why you've been systematically sabotaging employees, including my wife." Victoria's head snapped up. "Your wife?" "Oh, did I forget to introduce myself properly? Marcus Parker, Jaylani's husband." Victoria's expression shifted rapidly from shock to calculated charm. "There's clearly been a misunderstanding. These emails are being taken out of context." "Really?" I challenged. "So you didn't tell Derek to switch my presentation?" "That was a simple file correction. Your version had errors." "My version was never seen by anyone," I countered. "You replaced it before I even sent it." Victoria's demeanor changed again. "Look, business is competitive. Sometimes people need to be tested under pressure." "Is that what you call deliberate sabotage?" Marcus asked. "I call it ensuring only the strongest succeed," Victoria replied coldly. "Jaylani, I may have been harsh, but I was pushing you to excel. By humiliating me in front of clients, I can make things right," Victoria offered, her voice softening. "We can work together on the Westfield recovery plan. I'll even let you take the lead." "That's generous, considering it was my account to begin with," I replied. Victoria reached for my hand. "I'm sorry if you felt targeted. It wasn't personal." I pulled away. "It was entirely personal, and we both know it." "Don't be difficult," Victoria snapped, mask slipping. "I'm offering you a second chance many wouldn't get." "I don't need your second chance," I replied. "I need accountability." Victoria stood abruptly. "You'll regret this, both of you. I built this department. One meeting with proof I can easily discredit won't change anything." "We're not talking about one meeting," Marcus said calmly. "We're talking about years of documented harassment and corporate sabotage, affecting dozens of employees." Victoria's face contorted with rage. "You think you can come in here with your money and change everything? Richardson won't let his star performer go because some rich husband is defending his wife's bruised ego?" She grabbed my arm. "Tell him to back off, or I promise you won't have a career left anywhere in this industry." "That's enough, Victoria," Mr. Richardson said from the doorway, where he stood with Emma and the company's legal counsel. Victoria released my arm instantly. "Sir, I can explain." "I've heard enough," he interrupted. "Emma has shown me the backup server logs, and apparently Mr. Parker has uncovered quite a paper trail. These are private communications being taken out of context," Victoria insisted. The lawyer, Carlos Mendez, stepped forward. "Private communications using company servers to orchestrate workplace harassment and data manipulation. That's grounds for immediate termination and possible legal action." Victoria turned to me, her voice suddenly pleading. "Jaylani, we've worked together for years. You know how this business works. Everyone cuts corners sometimes." "This wasn't cutting corners," I replied. "This was deliberately hurting people's careers, their livelihoods, to advance your own." "I made mistakes," she admitted, glancing around the room. "But I can make amends. The Westfield account is no longer your concern," Mr. Richardson stated. "Victoria, please collect your personal items. Security will escort you out." "You can't do this," Victoria shouted. "I've made this company millions." "At the expense of countless talented employees we've lost because of your tactics," Richardson countered. "Mr. Parker has shown me exit interviews dating back 5 years. The pattern is undeniable." After Victoria was escorted out, Emma approached me by my desk. "I can't believe it's over," she said. "She's terrorized this department for so long." "Thank you for coming forward," I replied. "That took real courage." "Well, your husband made it easier by promising legal protection for whistleblowers. Is he really investing in the company?" I smiled. "He is now, particularly in a new anti-harassment initiative and a review of all employees who left under Victoria's supervision." 2 weeks later, Derek also left the company after a thorough investigation of IT practices. Several former employees were offered their positions back with compensation. Victoria made one last attempt, catching me in the parking garage after work. "Jaylani, please," she said, stepping from behind a column. "I've lost everything. My reputation is ruined." "That's not my problem," I replied, keeping my distance. I've had time to reflect, she continued. What I did was wrong. I was insecure and took it out on you and others. I'm truly sorry. 3 years, Victoria. 3 years of watching you take credit for my work while undermining me at every turn. I can help you rebuild the Westfield account. I still have contacts. I don't need your help, I interrupted. Westfield signed a new contract last week after I showed them my original presentation. Victoria's face hardened. So that's it? You get my job, your husband becomes an investor, and I get nothing? You get exactly what you earned, I replied, and the knowledge that you can never hurt anyone at Apex again. Later that evening, Marcus and I sat on our patio watching the sunset. Richardson offered me the director position today, I told him. And I took it on one condition, that we implement a complete restructuring of how projects are assigned and credited. Marcus smiled. Always fighting for others. That's why I fell in love with you. I learned something important through all this, I said. Revenge isn't about destroying someone else. It's about restoring justice, not just for yourself, but for everyone affected. So what happens now? Marcus asked. Now? We rebuild. We make things right. I looked at the city skyline. And maybe one day, when someone says, a simple woman was humiliated at work, the story will end differently. Not because a billionaire husband walked in, but because she had the courage to stand up for herself and others. What would you have done in my situation? Would you have confronted Victoria earlier, or handled things differently? Let me know in the comments.